Alright, you guys. As I was saying, this is part 2 of Season in Red. My great leap forward to New China. Kristy Needham. I got interrupted previously. Getting kind of tired, so I'm probably going to leave this a little short. As I was saying, readjust this a little bit. As I was saying, when talking about Kristy and her fellow Daily Mail. Daily Mail? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Daily Mail correspondence. China Daily Mail newspaper correspondence. Jeez, I can't get this straight. They visited Szechuan for this festival, and they thought that they were just going to be an observer, maybe a journalist, maybe like mildly partake at their own whim or at their own choosing. But when they actually got down there, it turns out that, they were pretty much forced into participating in something an extensive event that they didn't particularly want to partake in. And what it just sort of screamed of to me was kind of the paternalism of China. But, ultimately, it's much less paternalistic than it used to be because, one, they got half their way in that they were able to get off this compound that I was talking about and interact with the public. Despite, whatever brouhaha there was with the communist leader and the hotel owner. And, she just it was an experience that, I guess no harm, no foul, you could say. And it's certainly, while not commendable to try to force some people into something that they didn't particularly sign up for, or at least didn't know what they were signing up for. At least it's not as bad as it used to be when China was completely authoritarian. So those are the two travel stories. There's Huangshan and down to Szechuan. The other thing I wanted to talk about was sort of the people that she worked at with at the Daily Mail. Now, not particularly the native employees, the Chinese people within the China Daily Mail, but sort of the eclectic group of foreigners that were chosen for this. And she kind of goes on extensively about this. You had the girl that thought she was a fashionista, but just didn't have it within. Didn't have it within her financial means to go buying Gucci and Prada and all that stuff every day. So what does she do? She becomes a foreign correspondent in China and just decks herself out with this thin veneer of, clothing options. Fake Gucci, fake Rolex, fake Dolce & Gabbana, big designer eyeglasses, or at least knockoffs, designer luggage, fake. And you had people like, I think his name was Paul in the book, Paul, yeah, who moved to China and kind of marginally did his job. I mean, he got things done, but was really just more interested in womanizing as many Chinese women as he possibly could, bedded. Seems like one every few nights. She wasn't this guy's roommate, but, she knew what was going on. You had like the longtime people who kind of were more grizzled than what she was. So you could only have a foreign correspondence visa for 1 year, but it's only 1 year for a particular organization. So that there were people that moved around to 5 or 6 different mail groups or broadcasting groups or radio groups within the Beijing area or within China to extend their visa, and they were all kind of cynical. Not necessarily bitter, but just kind of, how we get with all our jobs, just kind of go with the flow, grind it out, grudge it out kind of thing. Not really looking too idealistically at the world. And those are only a few, but there were a collected group of, I'd probably say, 8 to 10 characters, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 8 to 12 characters that were foreign correspondence, and she went extensively through them. Other than that, I guess two things really come to mind, and then I'll draw the conclusion. I already talked about Beijing a little bit, but I might talk about it a little more. The first one was, well, now I'm forgetting. So I'm just going to talk about the social part of I remember what I was going to talk about. I'm all over the place. I'm a little sick, all over the map. Give me a break, people. If you're still watching. She talks about her door operator at her apartment. So, she lived in an apartment where she was the only occupancy on the entire floor in this, once again, sort of semi-dilapidated building, kind of somewhat crumbling. All the other correspondents had moved across the street, but she had wanted her isolation, so she requested this. But even in that isolation, even not having anyone else there, she found out that she didn't know for who, but the elevator lady that sat in the elevator all day in this 15-story building and just hit the buttons for people as they were coming and going, was actually spying on her and trying to find out her business, as well as mentioned that her phone line was tapped. And what this really bred was not necessarily a sense of change in physical environment, but a change in psychology. And not so much a change in psychology from Kristy's point of view because she knew what was going to happen, but because why would they, it just seemed so strange to her that they were wiretapping her and had this person kind of eavesdropping on her, kind of spying on her at a distance a little bit. And so, that kind of breeds the paranoia that you hear about in communist states. Even if she wasn't around long enough to have it really kind of be embedded into her long-term psychology, it did affect her. She did mention that. She mentioned that her phone conversations were different to her family when she called back to Australia because she knew they were being tapped. Not because she had any secret, but just because, she was more cautious with her words. Okay. I guess the biggest criticism I would have of the book is that it at times feels, I guess one other person, there was so much good about this book. I wish I could tell all the stories. There's this story of this girl she met that was spunky and energetic on the streets, and they just kind of developed a relationship, like a friendship. Her family invited him over to cook noodles and just observations. It was very good in the observation. But the book ends with the story of a girl that she saw on the street, beggar. She was pregnant, maybe in her early 20s. And Kristy felt empathy for where other Chinese people felt empathy for too. They were giving her coins. But at the same time, the Communist Party was harassing her to get off the street because it created a bad image for the city of Beijing. So what Kristy actually did was, this woman was from Guangdong in southern China and needed money to get back to her family so that she could give birth to her baby. She had come up to Beijing with aspirations of making it big, and if not a big city, because Guangzhou is big too, but a new city, far away from her old circumstances. Found out that the grass is not always greener, so started begging. That's where she met Kristy on the street. She had a sign out and was kind of like down like this, just praying for people to give her money so she could get a train ticket back. And for the price of what it was, I think about $60, Kristy went and bought her a ticket back to Guangdong for her parents, which I thought was very inspirational and very moving and just very nice. Other than that, I'd say the biggest criticism I would have of the book is that at times, one other thing that I forgot to mention. Man, there's so much good. This book is like 268 pages, but it's just packed with material. One thing that I forgot to mention. I mentioned previously about a lake with no name, and how there was a connection in going to the Huangshan Mountains, the Yellow Mountains, as a place of retreat. But one of the other books that I had a connection to was Beijing Time, not only in the shopping district that I mentioned in the previous video, where, like, there's this mad rush consumerism, low rent shopping, for like fake Gouda and the tattoos and all that kind of stuff. But also in this art district that she went to, that was also mentioned in Beijing Time. So there you go. I think I'm starting to feel like a little bit of an expert. If I had a criticism of the book, though, sometimes I feel like it's a little too not anecdotal, but just sort of like a combination of a series of events, rather than like the previous book that I did, Lost in Soul, had these very strong through lines with family and all that kind of stuff. And maybe that's just because she's a younger author, so she's more observatory, not really trying to find that through line. But if I would have a criticism, that would be it. Of course, often what you get with a through line is you get a lacking of observation, or you can't just let an observation be what it is. You have to apply something to it. And that was actually a strength of this book, in that there were a lot of observations that had some basic conclusion to them, but didn't necessarily just try to ram them into some sort of theme. So maybe just a little bit too textural. But overall, yeah, man, now that I think back on it, this is a great book. Season, like I said, I'm sick. A Season in Red, My Great Leap Forward into the New China by Kristy Needham. Highly recommended. Check it out. Check out the rest of my videos. I'm trying to keep trudging through on all these book reviews. So I hope you guys enjoy them. Peace out, y'all. Bye.